Woo! How's it going? Today I'm going to be going over a cosplay mask tutorial or helmet, whatever you want to call it. But basically what I made is the Vaultboy Mascot Head that you will probably end up seeing in the new Fallout game, Fallout 76, if you pre-ordered the Tricentennial edition. I'm hoping it looks somewhat like this. If not, whatever. I had fun making this. How this all started was I actually found a pepakura file online for a Fallout Vaultboy bobblehead that you find in the game. I actually took that pepakura paper file, enlarged it basically to what I thought was going to fit my head. I've played with pepakura in the past, and I was able to kind of determine how many sheets of paper would actually work for my head. I did make a sample of it. I just went with this paper file. I just printed it on regular printer paper, pieced it all together. I didn't really care how it ended up looking. I used a glue stick and scotch tape and just kind of pieced it all together just so I'd get an idea of what it might look like as a 3D implemented piece of work. So what I'm going to show you is basically all the steps I went through to make the helmet. How it all started, like I said, I found a pepakura file online of a Vaultboy bobblehead, and I enlarged it, and I ended up getting sheets of paper that I cut out. As you can see, this is the hair piece, the bottom of the head, the face, and this is actually how I determined if it was going to fit my head. Is I actually taped together the sheets of paper, cut it out, and basically put it on my face to determine if it was going to work for me or not. And then there's also the nose that came separate. The nose had a little slit in it to make the bend, to make it a little bit more 3D. As you can see on the helmet there, it does stick out a little bit. This wasn't my most favorite cosplay I've made. I've done Power Ranger helmets with actual cardstock, put it all together and used fiberglass resin on it and everything, and just kind of made it more of a hard material. With the Vaultboy head, I actually used EVA foam. Once you get all your pieces printed out, this one was a little bit more simplistic. There's 3 pieces that I ended up using. I grabbed a sheet of the EVA foam. As you can see here, I'm not going to go through an actual tutorial on how to cut this stuff. It's pretty self-explanatory. I just used a basic blade like so. Just traced it out with the paper templates and cut. I busted out my pieces and I folded them to how I thought they would all work together best. It's a little bit more difficult with foam because it is a 1/2 inch thick versus a sheet of paper. You can bend it and make it any way you want. Although the foam is going to be probably longer lasting and easier once you get it all glued together and everything. Once I cut all my foam out, I folded it, used a heat gun of course, which I just got this cheap heat gun a couple years back. It was like 20 bucks. Use that to heat up your foam to make it a little bit more easier to bend. After I bend it all together, I used my contact cement. I just put it in a little tube like this, because when you're actually putting it on your pieces of foam, you don't want to use too much, but you also want to make sure it's covering the actual piece that you're going to be bonding together. So just as an example, you put your glue on here and wait a few minutes and it actually gets tacky. You don't want it to be kind of a slimy stretch feel to it. but you put it on both sides of what you're going to be contacting together and sticking it, and it'll actually end up bonding so good that you're not going to be able to tear this apart. Just as an example, this is the bottom of the Vaultboy head. As you can see, it's just a gray piece of foam. It has a nice little bend in it. And the slit right here, you'll go off of your template from the paper files, and that's actually where you put the contact cement. And for the gaps like this, I just filled it with hot glue. So I just used a hot glue gun from the craft store and filled in all the gaps in there. I'm sure there's other ways to do it. Some people, they're able to get a nice precise cut in their foam and stick it together, and when doing that you actually don't see any slits if you're doing your cuts precise. But this being my first helmet, I'm pretty proud of it. Fallout is my favorite video game franchise of all time, so I'm just kind of proud that I was able to make a piece of artwork and a wearable costume piece just to have, whether it be a showcase to put in, you know, the office or garage, or wear it on Halloween or to a comiccon. So back to it. You get your foam pieces, put it all together. It took me a few days to get it right. As far as putting all the different pieces together is actually pretty difficult. I didn't really like how the hair turned out, but as far as, you know, final product, it came out pretty decent. I did have to chop the back side here because, as you can see on the original paper file, there's some extra pieces that I did not include since the foam is 1/2 inch thick. This is actually a thin sheet of paper that I had to tape to the back side. I skipped the small pieces and just kind of free-formed it all together to make it work. I'll go in a little bit more detail of this. After you get it all glued and everything, I just took some, like I said, I took the hot glue, filled in all the gaps and everything, made sure it's all formed well. You can use your heat gun a little bit more if you want to kind of press it into a actual roundish shape, but do note that if you have hot glue in it and you put a heat gun to it, it's going to come apart. That's one thing I did experience when my first run is the glue was actually coming apart from the heat gun. It was just too hot to withstand that. I painted it with acrylic paints. It took me a couple coats to actually get the shading all right and everything, but as far as the final product, I'm very happy with it. With the eyebrows and the mouth, I actually just cut out little pieces of 2mm craft foam, and these come as 9x11 sheets at the craft store. Cut them, glue them the same way you would with the contact cement, and you put the actual eyebrows and the mouth just glue directly onto the painted surface. As you can see, the eyes, it's sunglasses inside. Hot glued them in there, and that's how that came to be, because I didn't want my eyes visible through there. It does look a little bit more creepy if you have your human eyes showing through the holes. And as far as wearing it goes, cut a hole in the bottom to fit your head. My head is fairly large, so what I ended up doing was cutting a slit in the back, because people are more focused on seeing the front of it, and when you actually cut the slit in the back, that gives you a little bit of give to fit in there a little bit better. It's not too easy to get on, but for what I was using it for, just a practice EVA foam cosplay. I'm happy with the way it turned out. If I were to do anything different in the future, I would probably say with all the seams that have the hot glue, I would have used my sander bit on my what the hell is this called? Whatever. My Dremel. I would have used my sander bit from my Dremel and sanded it down, painted it, and just made it a little bit more smooth. But whatever, it's the hair. Hair can be messy. Look at mine. But anyway, it was a fun cosplay helmet, and I'm happy that it's done, able to share before the actual Fallout 76 releases with the mascot head. If you want any other information on how to make this, or you want to catch up to play the game, leave a message below. Please like, subscribe, and tell me what you guys think. But anyway, yeah, that's it. See you in the wasteland.